Mahela, Mitchell Johnson has been saying that he takes a lot of pleasure in bowling short and that the Sri Lankans have a weakness for the short pitch ball. Does it mean that he's going to have a free hand at Sydney as well?
Well, I think what we saw in Melbourne, obviously they had different game plans against different players. They will execute those game plans, and the guys have to, like I said, we've had chats, and individually guys have to realize, what they need to do in those situations. What we saw in Melbourne is that, they do have individual plans against people, and we've spoken about it, and, that's something that how Mitch is going to bowl is something that we can't control. What we can control is how we're going to bat and control that. So that's something that we need to focus on.
Mahela, if the pitch dries out, it would be nice for Ranganihara to have a bowl in the fourth innings, but are you a bit hesitant to expose your out-of-form top order against a new ball attack, especially if it moves around in the first couple of days?
Yeah, I mean, that's something that I have to weigh in. I haven't really had a look at the wicket yet, but, those are things. But the best way that we could win a test match would be try and create a situation for Rangana on a slow turner. So we just have to make sure that, till the fourth or fifth day, we execute a good game plan and we stay in the game. So, yeah, those are things that we will discuss after we having a look at the wicket, and once we obviously finalize our team and how we want to go about that.
Mahela, can you give an update on Prasanna's injury and what the team is like? I mean, have you sort of finalized 13 or 12 after that?
Yeah, I think what we'll do is definitely we'll bring Chandimal in for Kumar. That's something that we'll definitely do, because he's our mid-order batsman that we've always wanted to invest in. So he'll definitely play. Prasanna did not keep wickets the other day as well. We wanted to give him another couple of days to see how his finger is going to heal. Today he'll have a fitness test in the afternoon, see whether all his movements and whether he can keep, because keeping is a major thing, because he'll be getting a lot of balls coming his way, so he has to be 100% in that. So once we make a call on Prasanna, then we'll decide which way we need to go with that extra vacant position in the lineup.
With the injuries you've had, Mahela, and the emergency players you've had to bring in, this would be about the most disrupted time you've had leading into a test for some time, wouldn't it?
It is, but like I've said after Melbourne as well, these are unexpected things that we need to get our head around and handle the situation the best possible way. I mean, you don't anticipate 3-4 guys to go down in just one test match, but it happened, so we just need to sit down and see what are the options we've got. We've got 2 guys flown in. The Suranga arrived last night, the fast bowler, so we're back to having full 16 in the squad now. But even in that, we've got Prasanna and Nuwan Kulasekara, who's still doubtful. So we need to assess their situations this afternoon and then make a call on the final 11.
Mahela, you have had 5 days to prepare ahead of this test. What emphasis have you has the team gone through in the build-up?
Well, the emphasis has been to try and get over that test match was the initial thing. What happened and how we can avoid something like that. I mean, teams do go through that kind of stuff. It happened to us in Centurion last summer when we were in South Africa. We've lost in 2.5 days. And, we bounced back in Durban to win the test match. So it's about guys, owning responsibility, what happened, and how we can come about it. I mean, we are up against a strong Australian side. They're playing some really good cricket. We just need to play to our potential and back ourselves that, we can actually stand up for that. And that's something that we've emphasized in the last few days. We had one good practice session the day we arrived in Sydney. It was a good long session. A lot of the guys got things done, what they're required to do. And today we'll top it up and see what we need to do today.
Well, in Melbourne, the run out in the first over in the second innings, how significant did it take the momentum away from you guys?
Um, Obviously, when you go into a test match, under pressure in the second innings, and you need to have a good start. That's the foundation. And when you have a run out, it's sometimes you feel bad, but the circumstances is that it was Dimuth in his second, third test match. Probably got a bit more energy flowing in his veins, and he's that kind of guy. So I think he'll learn from those mistakes. I think that's the best way I see. When you make those kind of mistakes, the guys will learn quickly. So I personally feel that's a good investment for us for the future. That in a test match, you don't need to take that kind of risk. But Dimuth knows what happened, and I'm sure he'll get over it. But as a team, I think, like I said, we need to handle certain situations better. We can't let early wickets or whatever control the rest of the innings for us. So we just need to make sure we buckle up and handle tough situations much better.
Is there an indication that he's certain to play the last game as well?
Dimuth? Oh yeah, definitely. Like I've said, when we made the call that Dimuth's going to be the second opener in this series, we made a conscious call, and the selectors backed it and said, he's going to get a good run, whatever happens. So I think that's the way to go about in Test cricket. You need to give younger guys enough opportunities, feel them comfortable. If you could remember, Marwan went through 5-6 ducks in his career, and he came back and delivered for Sri Lanka. So we need to have the same faith in the younger group. That's the only way we will rebuild the team.
Mahela, Australia have picked a four-man pace attack. They obviously think that pace bowling can knock you over again. What happened in Melbourne? I mean, are your batsmen scarred by that, or was that more just, I guess, technical glitches?
I think, a bit of both. I think, loss of concentration, few technical glitches as well. So, like I said, we did emphasize on certain things, what the Aussie bowlers would come against certain batsmen, individual plans. So the guys prepared for that. Like I've said earlier, we can't control how the Aussie is going to bowl. What we can control is how we're going to bat against that. So try and have our focus on that, and give ourselves a good chance for this test match.
Mahela, what state do you think Sri Lankan cricket is in now, and how is it placed for the next few years?
I think, you should not reflect just on what happened in Melbourne. I think we had a very decent year in all forms of the game, and we had some really good series back home. Before that in South Africa, we had a very good series there as well last December. So I think we are playing some good cricket, but we're not very consistent. That's something that we've spoken a lot about with the group, especially in Test cricket, that we need to hit our strides, we need to hit our marks much better. But in one-day cricket and all that, we're playing some really good cricket. So if we can keep improving and keep, working really hard, I think, we can be consistent. That's something that we need to find. And obviously, we're getting more younger guys into the setup, and the next 2-3 years, you will see, the senior group moving away from the national team, and we need then those younger guys to take more responsibility. I mean, I can't predict what's going to happen, but there will be blips. They will have tough times, but like I said in the last interview, I said, we need to have faith in the players and faith in the system, and back them to deliver for us. So that's where it stands.
Last two questions out there.
Mahela, in the last few tests, the batting group, it seems like it's is there a feeling that it's the mental side of their game that's letting them down? And if so, how have you prepared for that for this test?
Yeah, the last 2-3 tests has been a bit of a blip, but like I've always said, our strong point is our batting. I think that's where the experience lies, and that's where we control a lot of the test matches, and we need to make sure we take that control back, and whether it will be with the mental side of it or whether it will be technical side, something that we need to address. We have spoken about it, but there's so much you can talk in a team closed doors, so we just need to go out there and enjoy ourselves tomorrow, and back ourselves that we could perform to our ability.
Last question, sir.
Mahela, a very emotional test match for the Australians as well with Mike Hussey's retirement. How do you think that'll affect them, and how will you go into it, particularly towards Mike Hussey?
Oh, I think, yesterday I've spoken a bit about Huss. I think, he's one of those cricketers that any international cricketer would admire. I think, he had a late start to his international career, but I reckon he's the ultimate professional when it comes to playing the game. I think, he gave everything when he crossed that line, whether it will be in Test cricket, one-day cricket, or in 2020 cricket. So there's a lot that the youngsters can learn from that, and I've admired the way he had gone about playing cricket. He's a very tough competitor. Wish him well. I'm sure I'll come across him in those 2020 leagues in the next few years. But I think he has served Australia very well, and that Australian team will miss him. But that's something that all teams will go through. Cricket will move on. The people will come and go. So with Pant and Huss leaving this year, it's going to be tough for the Aussies going forward. But they'll find a way to get it together and move on. Emotional, yes, it will be a great occasion for Huss and the Aussie team. There's a lot happening in Sydney Test match, but for us as the Sri Lankan team, we just need to keep it very simple and keep our focus where it should be, and have a good Test match.